expensive. But they came from Italy. Okay. So it's an important building. Now, if you look at that building today, you might not be impressed with it because it's 3 stories high, but it's made out of stone. And it's a stone that has been nicely cut. It has, if you've ever been in the building, the columns in the building are made out of iron. The windows, the window shutters, they're made out of iron. And it's a building that if you look at it and you understand some architectural terms, you can figure out very quickly this thing has to do with something with government because they use the arch. Okay? We identify the arch with Rome. Rome we identify with law. And it's a very symmetrical kind of thing. There are the bays line up in a certain way, the doors line up with the windows. It's very symmetrical in that particular style. And because of what it's made with, that building would be impressive. Okay? And that building is here because Wheeling, by that time, the late 1850s, has grown dramatically. Just as a case in point. 1830, there are 5,221 people who live in Wheeling. In the next census, in 1840, there are almost 9,000. In 1850, there are 11,435, and in 1860, the last census before the Civil War, there are over 14,000 people. Now keep in mind that Wheeling in this time does not include, all of those communities on the outside like Warwood and so on, but it also doesn't include the stuff south of the creek. That's Ritchie-town. We haven't added that yet. So this is a compact place, and the population in 1860, in that probably, let's say, 30 blocks, and maybe 4 streets from, let's see, Water, Main, Market, Chaplin, Jacob, okay? Oaf, I forgot Oaf. You know who Oaf was, don't you? Oaf was a doctor. Or as some people would say, where's Eoff Street? And well, I can tell you why you say that. No, it's Oaf. John Oaf and his son were doctors. In fact, they used to have an orchard down in the south part of Wheeling, and they would let the boys take some of the apples because, as doctors, they used to say, apple a day keeps me away. So it's compact, but the population in 1860 was half of the population today. Okay? 150 years ago, Wheeling had half of the people it has today in a space that is probably 1/4 the size. Okay? Now, by 1860, you've got some other things. The National Road is well established. In fact, the National Road by 1860 has lost most of its glamour. The number of stages, the number of freight wagons diminishing rapidly. Why? Because they're coming in by rail. The rail's here by 1860. The rail has been here for 8 years. Steam traffic is still very, very big, and it will remain large. You know, I was there today, and how many times did I see a boat come up and down the river because I was playing at a golf course next to the river, and you see all this traffic on. That's the lifeblood of this community. And if you wanted to go to towns in this area, you could take a packet boat. That's one that runs on a schedule. So you've got all the transportation here that you could think of, and we're at the center of American transportation, with the bridge, with the road, with the transport in terms of steamboats and stuff, and then you have the bridges. It's easy to cross here. You can go across that suspension bridge, taking an angle across the island and go across the back bridge and continue on Route 40 on your way. That's important. You also have a concentration of population here. And the reason for that, of course, is you've got the industry. You've got the iron. And remember that when the war begins in 1861, certain things are going to be of greater importance. How do you move goods and people, particularly if they're heavy cannons? Lots of people. Railroad is one. Steam transport on the rivers is another. So it's important. And then if you look at a map, I mentioned the other day that what Wheeling's advantage of the 19th century is where it's located in relationship to other things. By 1816, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, I'm just trying to think if Minnesota's a state by then or not, but those are all in the Union. So we're right on that hinge between the upper Midwest and the East. Pittsburgh is close, Baltimore's close, D.C.'s close, the cities to the east, the newer cities to the west like Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and so on. So this is an important area. Particularly so when the Civil War begins in 1861, because this little piece of West Virginia is stuck between Pennsylvania to the east, Ohio to the west, and to the north, by the way. You know, if you go north, in the northernmost part of West Virginia, you run into Ohio. Okay? It's been probably 30 years ago. I thought my students ought to know where the states were. You know. So I said, look, I'm going to put, with your final exam, I'm going to put an outline map of the United States of America with 48 states. I'm conceding Hawaii and Alaska. All you have to do is label the 48 states, and I will give you 10 extra points. Now, be surprised what 10 extra points can do. It would mean the difference between a C and a D, a B and a C. So I handed out, and I said, but it's the all or nothing effect. You have to have them all. So there was this young person sitting in the front, and gentlemen, it was not one of us. It was the other gentleman. And she was poring over the map. I mean, poring over the map. And what struck me as unusual was she could have gotten all the states right twice. And 20 points wouldn't have helped her. She was beyond help. She was, you know, at college you could only give an F. You know, you couldn't give the letters that some people earn, like G's. So, and I'm just mesmerized by this. So she turns in the map, and I gasp. In fact, if Linda Cummings were here, I probably would have said, but lo, oh, she is back there. But lo, I said. She got one state right. Lunch. Florida. So I'm thinking, what was she taking all the time for? And then it dawned on me. She was looking for West Virginia. And her key to West Virginia was what she lived in, the Panhandle. And she looked, and this is a little map, and the one that she saw there was just too small. It was too small. And then she looked down toward the south there, and that one in Texas was just too